going on? Dr. Ben Glass. Chilling here with my friend Dr. Ryan, visiting from Spain. He's in town, and I came up in the game with him in chiropractic. We came through school together, adjusted each other many times, so I'm just excited to get adjusted by him. I'm a human too. I woke up, I got a stiff neck. I'm excited to get adjusted. Everybody that's out there, know that your chiropractors need to walk the walk. If you go to a chiropractor and they're not getting adjusted, they're not living a healthy lifestyle, you might need to look for a new chiropractor. So this is just me giving you some insights into my life, getting adjusted by my guy Ryan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ryan. I went to Life West with Dr. Ben. We graduated together. The last 13 years I've been living in Spain, and the south of Spain. I have 3 practices there that I manage. Yeah, life is good. And when I come here on vacation to see family and friends, I always want to get adjusted. And being a chiropractor, I can pick the best chiropractors because I know what they do. I've been experienced by them, and so I always come to Dr. Ben to get adjusted. And it just makes my vacation that much better. So here I am.
Because you just got done teaching, what did you teach about when you were teaching the students over there? What was the topics, or like you went through everything, or you just focused on one aspect?
When I teach a seminar, I go back to thinking about when I was a student. And when I was a student, it's like, what are the things that I wish I would have learned? And I wish I would have had my adjusting skills a little bit more honed, go over more extremities, and then patient management. You get a new patient, how do you go about that full approach? We go through all the clinical stuff, but sometimes to bring it all together to focus it. So when I have a new patient here, like I have Ben, scoot back for me. We want to find out what's wrong with him. And to find out what's wrong, we have to find something that's wrong. We can go off of just pain, but that's not the most specific thing. So let's just do some basic testing. First, what I like to do is just do some basic range of motion. Do we have any restriction? Look at that. That goes there, it doesn't go anymore. We're locking maybe 15 degrees, that's tight. Now is that a tight shoulder? Is that coming from the neck radiated? We don't know right now. So we check the other side, we always want to check. This side comes up pretty good, but not 100%. So let's say this is lacking 5 degrees and this is lacking 15. Then we just want to rotate the neck and see where it goes. That's pretty bad. He's locking out right here and he should be able to get to about there. So that's not good. So we turn to the other way and about the same, maybe even worse. We're about here. We need to get to there. So we're lacking maybe 30, 40 degrees. We can check a little bit of lateral flexion. There's almost nothing there, and there's quite a bit lateral flexion to the right. So there's something going on in his neck, and we have some restriction more in this shoulder and a little bit in this one, just to get a kind of idea. If you want to get a little bit more in depth, what I do if I have some more time with patients, we can get into a little bit of muscle testing. So just hold your arm here. Okay, push up for me, push up, push up, push up, push up. Okay, that's quite solid. I can check this here. Bend the elbow just a little bit right there. Okay, push up, push up, push up, push up, push up, push up. Good. And then we can get specific with that. So if we have something that might be out, we can then turn the head, leave it there, put that here, put the arm up. Okay, push up, push up, push up, push up, push up, push up. Okay, maybe, but not too bad. Let's turn to the other way, and then put your arm there. Push up, push up, push up, push up, and then it fails. So something's going on. So what you can do is if the pinched nerve is on one way, if we turn against that, we can create more pinching, which then can create more weakness, and then we can have an idea. There's obviously something going on in his neck. What segment is out, we don't know yet. We're going to figure that out. So let's lay on your back.
What were you testing when you did rotation of my neck?
Just to see if the neck was involved.
Okay.
Right, so I wasn't doing anything specific. I'm just doing it really basic right now. Okay, so just put your hands here to your side. What we do as chiropractors is we always check leg length. Why is that important? Because it can tell us if we have low back that's tight, it can create more tension on one side, it can bend us for like this, and if I get bent like that, then our legs get unbalanced. And if you start walking around like this over thousands and thousands of steps, then it can create issues. So we always want to try to make sure that we're balanced. So check here, we got a little bit of a short right leg, not too much. Yeah, I just want to check a few other little things that we do neurologically. Yeah. And then we're just going to do 2 little basic tests here that I like to do with patients. One is think about how you are right now, right? We're going to leave your leg right there. Can you hold that for me? Does it increase any pain, tension? Does your leg feel heavy? No. Okay, so we'll do this side. Can you hold right there? increase any pain, tension? Does your leg feel heavy? Do they both feel about the same?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's just do 2 little muscle tests here, and that can kind of give me a good idea about what's going on in the low back. So this is the tensor fascia lata. So you push towards me. I'm gonna push that way against you, right? Okay, push towards me. More. Great. Okay, let's come over on this side real quick. So push towards me. Okay, more. Okay, great. So now we're gonna test the psoas. So come up here, turn a little bit, extend the knee, extend. Hold your leg. Okay, push up. There's no strength, that's completely weak. Okay, so check this side, extend, hold. Push up. That's really solid. So, really weak psoas on the left. What does that mean? We don't know yet. It could be a variety of things. I'm suspecting something to do with the low back. So then we're gonna come back after we find these findings and then recheck them to see if we made a change, right? So, since we're here on the neck, it's just easier to move you when we're in a little bit of flexion. Yeah, so we got the left out. Let me check the C2 real quick. Yeah, a little bit there too. So we're gonna do 2 things. First, we're gonna start here adjusting this C2. So just relax. Excellent. And then we have a little bit of C1 right here on this side. Good. That just really loosened everything up quite nice. He has a lot of upper cervical tension, just tension there. So what I'm going to do is just strip it a little bit, okay? This might hurt a little bit. So what I'm doing is just contacting here and just pushing down as I'm stripping through there, just to kind of break up some of that tension in the upper cervical spine. So, you know, Dr. Ben here works a lot on the computer, designing projects and, you know, managing a schedule and emails, and that just really provokes a lot of tension on his neck. And so we want to kind of get in there. Yeah. He's on camera, but he really wants to cry.
Facts.
So this is quite painful, but once it releases, it feels great. Good. Okay. Yeah, so neck is looking great. Let's have you have a seat now, and we're gonna flip you over. Good. Perfect. So let's come down here and check the low back. Pelvis is not too bad. We got some movement. L5. That's completely locked. L4 is good. L3, L2. Okay. L5, no movement at all. Pelvis is not too bad. L5 is just screaming at me that there's an issue, so we need to fix this. Let me just check, just a little scan of the mid-back. Yeah, just scanning it, it kind of opens up, but it's not too bad. We have some good movement. I'm really concerned about this. So, let's fix that. Let me have you lay on your side, please, and face me. All right. So here we got here the L5 segment. It's out right there. Got my contact. I roll them over really relaxingly. Good. Okay, move well. Let's go straight face up. I'm gonna take that out. Let's have you put your hands to the side. I want to recheck this since we just adjusted that. It was this psoas that was really weak. Did we make a change? I don't know. Let's find out. Extend, turn, hold. Push up. And that is super solid. Okay? Really strong. We reestablished that connection and instantly he got that strength. I really like the muscle testing because you can tell what's before and what's after, and you can't lie, you can't cheat it because it comes from the patient. It doesn't come from me. Is he strong or is he weak? So we fixed that. That's excellent. I want to check out the shoulders. Let's have you have a seat. Remember, we're lacking about 15 degrees here, maybe 5 here. Let's see if we made any difference. Yeah, it gets all the way up. It's really loose. There's no tension there. That's good. That means it was all from the neck radiating to here in the shoulder area. This one was about 5 degrees, a little tense, completely went away. So that just really calmed down instantly. Then we want to check rotation. Do we have any changes? Okay. Yeah, a little bit better. Okay, we're here. Maybe let's say we're lacking 30 before we're lacking about 45. Is it perfect? No. Okay, quite a bit better to the left. Maybe we're lacking about 5 or 10 degrees. So not perfect. There's still some issues in the neck. So if he was my patient, I would say, okay, come back and see me next week because we still have a little bit of tension there. So a lot of the work on the computer, and being a chiropractor, as you just saw me work on him, is sometimes a lot of stress for the body. We're very physically moving. He's a in shape guy. He's not overweight, but you start getting some of these bigger overweight people, or some of the older people that are struggling to move, and you really have to help. It really drains you. So physically, our job is very demanding. So he's quite a bit better, not 100%, but maybe with one more visit we can get that neck 100% and he'll be good to go. So that's my adjustment. We're gonna leave it at that. Sometimes you don't have to do a whole lot. Sometimes patients ask me, well, all you did was just a little bit of my neck and a little of my back. You didn't do anything else. Well, you didn't need anything else. So we don't want to just go and crack every single joint. We want to see what's wrong and what we need to fix, and that's it. And then his body will heal and function well, and now he can serve his community better now that he's well adjusted. So thank you, Dr. Ben. I hope you feel great.
So I'm here with a world famous sports chiropractor, and he's right out of Spain, Dr. Ryan Cevola. Ryan has been to many different events supporting professional athletes of all different sports, and as I knew him in school, he wasn't focused on sports chiropractic. I thought it would be really helpful if he shared some insights with any chiropractic students out there on what he would have done, knowing what he knows now, going back to chiropractic school. Ryan, if you could kind of just give an outline in your mind on what the best practices are for students nowadays that are interested in this path, and kind of some of the mentality, because I think that sometimes chiropractic gets lost and it's just about sports and athletes, but it's not about chiropractic. So you kind of focus on the student and share with them any insights that you got.
So I initially went to Life West, and at Life West they're very philosophically based, very just want to focus on the adjustment and nothing else, which is fine. And I was doing that for probably 6, 7, 8 years almost in practice. Great. I really wanted to focus on pediatrics and do pregnancy, and that was my main focus in practice. But you get to the point where I was getting really busy with 3 practices, seeing a lot of patients. I started to get a little burnt out, and I felt like I wanted something else, a little bit more excitement. And so somebody introduced me to the sports program through FIX, which is the International Federation of Sports Chiropractic. And so I looked into it. So okay, I'm going to go to one of these seminars and see what it's all about, and I really enjoyed it. And then so I ended up completing the program, getting the ICSC, is the International Certificate in Sports Chiropractic. And with that, you can apply to many international championships around the world. And that was very exciting for me because I started going to these different events. One was the International Championship of Kickboxing in Portugal, in the south of Portugal. So I went there. I'm working with these athletes. You're seeing in the entire week probably 200 athletes, and you're just nonstop working on your skills. You're working with them. You get to take pictures with them. The best moment ever is when you work on some athletes and afterwards you're like, yeah, my shoulder was hurting me, but now I just competed and it felt great. Thank you so much. You get that appreciation. And I thought that was just a really good thing for the students. So I got involved with the mentoring program with FIX, and now I just am mentoring students and say, well, I'll tell you guys what I tell them is get involved early, because once you graduate, you're still lacking a little bit of a skill. So chiropractic is as if it's a sport, and if you've only been practicing it for 2, 3, 4 years as you went to chiropractic school, what about somebody who's been practicing for 20 years? They're obviously going to be better. How can you improve your skills as fast as possible? By practicing more. How can you start practicing more? If you go to these events. Because if you graduate tomorrow as a student and now you just became a chiropractor, normally you're not going into an office seeing 100 patients a week. You might, if you start your own office, you start your own thing, you're going to start slow. But you can go to some of these international events. And the good thing about the events is first you get your hands on a lot of athletes, and these are top tier, the best athletes in the world in their sport. And from there you also get partnered with somebody who's an experienced chiropractor. So if you're a brand new student, you might go and there might be somebody who has 15 years experience or 20 years experience, and then that person can show you stuff, and then you can instantly apply it. So for me, it's like you get a practice, you get like a seminar almost, because you get taught from other chiropractors on what to do with certain things. They pay for your hotel, they pay for your food. Usually it's a 4-star hotel, you get some nice food. You do have to pay for your own flight to get there, but sometimes they're very close. Like for me, as Portugal, it took me 4 hours, I just drove there. I'm going now in August to the World Games, that's in China, so I have to fly there. So that's a little bit more expensive, but to be there for 2 weeks, be surrounded by 55 chiropractors, we're all there to treat the event, it's going to be a major event. So I recommend students get involved with the sports program, because first you learn all the extremity adjustments, you go over soft tissue work, which is really helpful. We don't have to be so closed-minded sometimes that we can only do the adjustments and we don't want to be a fake physio. No, that's not true. If we can do a little bit of soft tissue, it can really complement. You saw the soft tissue I did with him, it was very basic. I just adjusted Dr. Ben, and we did a little bit of soft tissue on his neck, and it was very basic stuff, and it can make all the difference in the world. Obviously the adjustment's number one, soft tissue's number two, and then there's some other modalities that you can do if you want to. But I highly recommend that students get involved with the sports, just because it's going to improve your skills so much, you're going to learn so much. I don't see any downside to it. That's why I got in. So I'm currently the president of the Spanish Sports Chiropractic Association, just because I think it's so beneficial and I want to get as many students involved as possible. So yeah, that's my story about sports chiropractic.
If you're hosting an upper extremity adjusting seminar, what are students going to learn about? What are some of the different moves that they're going to practice? What are some of the different clinical gems that you're going to provide for them? Maybe go over, just like what in your eyes students are not going to learn in school in their classes that they can learn by studying either with you or at a fixed seminar, or if it's not affiliated with fixed, just anything that's like a sports chiropractic seminar. Like you mentioned adjusting and soft tissue, you demonstrated a little bit, but is there anything specifically that you could do to broaden that conversation on what you can learn when you go and you study sports chiropractic, like getting a little more specific, I guess, on how to adjust the shoulder in 4 different ways, or
Right. If you do the sports chiropractic program through Fix, they have 2 seminars, the upper extremity, where they check everything related with the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and the hand, and then the lower extremity, which is the hip and the knee, the ankle and the foot, and make sure you're well versed in that, because a lot of sports injuries take place in the extremities. They trust us to know that we know what we're doing with the spine, but then you can go over some spine stuff as well, because as chiropractors we really focus on the spine. Sometimes we focus a little bit on the extremities, but we usually don't get too much extremity work in school, so getting out and doing that as an extra thing apart is really beneficial. When I teach my seminars, I try to cover as much as possible and in as little time as possible. It's like, all right, there's no breaks, we're just going, we're going to take a little lunch break, but if you guys want to BS in the back on your phone, that's your thing. But if you really want to get focused and learn, we're going to go over as much things as possible, and everything I go over is hands-on, and I want it to be the most useful thing as possible. Sometimes PowerPoints are nice and I can show things. It's like we don't have time for that, because when I do my seminar, we go over one day just everything as possible. I try to cover the upper extremity, lower extremity. I try to cover patient management, spine, as many things as possible, soft tissue, and then if we run out of time, we run out of time. There's just so much to learn once you graduate, but once you put it all together, then you're able to apply it, you can get the best results. And so yeah, I encourage people to look into the sports program. If I'm ever teaching something, you can come to my seminar. I think it's a win-win. I don't see any downside to it. So
is there anything that you could maybe do to go over how to get better results clinically by integrating extremities into full spine adjusting? Or you've studied the jaw, you've studied a lot you're using different tools like SOT blocks, activator, arthrostim.
So if you want to get the best results possible when it comes to working with your patients, you have to understand a little bit the neurology, and you have to get into some things that they don't really teach so much in school. And so if you kind of divide the body into percentages of neurological stimulation, right? We talk a lot about like the upper cervical or the neck region or the low back region has a lot of nerve stimulus, proprioceptor, mechanoreceptors. But we forget sometimes, like if you take the feet, they're almost about 20% of neurological stimulus in the body. And so if you only adjust the feet and nothing else, you're going to be helping more than about 20% or more than patients, just because there's so much neurological connection. If you're not working on the feet at all, then how many things are you missing? The same thing with the TMJ, the jaw. This joint here is the most stimulated joint in the entire body, and we're looking at maybe 25-30% of all the neurological stimulation that goes through there. And if you don't know how to work with the jaw, you're again missing so many opportunities. And a lot of times when patients don't get better the way that we want them to get better, because there might be something that we missed. And it could be that. So, if you're only adjusting spine, it's great. A lot of us do that, but sometimes you're missing something that could be related with jaw or something that could be related with an extremity. So then we talk about just the hands, that could be another 10-15%. So, if we look at all the different joints that we can potentially check, we can make so much change with the patients. And the other thing is a little bit of soft tissue. I see a patient every 10 minutes, and I can probably easily do maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute of little basic soft tissue. It makes all the difference. The adjustment is the key, but then if sometimes there's a tight muscle or something there, it could easily pull that joint back out of place. And if I can just release that really quick, could be soft tissue, could be some ART, it could be anything that you're interested in. And the idea is to add a little bit more on top to make sure that adjustment was the best adjustment and it holds. And then that's how you get the results. That's how you don't have to see patients 30 visits. You can see them in 2, 3, 4 visits and get them better. And the faster you get the patient better, the faster they're going to refer you to see their friends and family. And then you get to the point where you're just seeing new patients all the time just because you're doing such a good job. So it's not hard. People think chiropractic can be hard, especially when you're a student. If you figure out what you need to do and you do the things correctly, you're going to have the best results ever.
You mind if we leave my socks on though?
I gotta take one.
Damn, it's gonna be crazy, bro.
That's why in my practice, I just built a new practice, and in every adjusting room like we are here, I have a sink, because I work a lot with feet, and people have some nasty feet sometimes. And if they come in, especially in the summertime, they come in with those sandals and they have like that leather stuck to the bottom of their feet, or they're sweaty. Or I worked with many athletes. I worked with 4 soccer clubs, and they come in after playing a soccer match or after practice, and their feet are just nasty. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So you gotta kind of suck it up and make, because what we want to do is make the changes. And when I'm working with the soccer club, I only have like an hour to see 30 patients. How are you going to see 30 people in an hour? That is difficult, so you have to go quick. We're here with Dr. Ben. We're just going to go over a little bit of extremity work, just talking about the foot, some basics. So there's many bones in the foot. How many bones are in the foot? 25, 26? I always forget. We can count them. But there's a lot of bones in the foot, and basically we want to test it. How do you test it? We want to find restriction of range of motion. So if we just talk about here first, the talus. Right, there's a talus bone right here. We just want to kind of flex, extend, see how it's going. Then I usually catch the calcaneus here, and we just kind of move it around. Is there joint play? Is there any restriction? You can check the cuboid. He has a cuboid out on this one. We can come back to that. Then you can kind of come down a little bit, check the navicular, the same type of thing. Just kind of feel around the cuneiforms. Just get some movement. Feel here, what's going on with this big toe? It's a little bit tight as well. You can also check the toes. A lot of sensitivity here on the bottom of the foot. And then so just get a basic idea what's going on the foot. It's okay. So what's out here? Maybe a little bit of talus, maybe a little bit of the hallux valgus, the bunion adjustment. And then over here, I find a cuboid that's out that can be fixed. Talus is good, cuboid's out. Calcaneus maybe a little bit, not too much, and then we have a lot of tension here underneath the foot. So it's just the way we walk, just the way we work. As chiropractors, a lot of times we spend more time on one side of the table versus the other, so we have a little bit of torsion. Myself, I spend most of the time on the right side of the table, and then I do some adjustments on the left. but a lot of times I'm more here, I'm just more comfortable doing what I have to do, and then that can create torsion and tension. It's a hard job. If we had to work on the foot here, I would want to adjust the talus. There's many ways to adjust the talus. One, you can just, get a contact like this, reinforce it, flex it, come, and then pull it out. Two, you can get your thumb. A lot of people like to get the thumb on top of the talus, and then you can grab the calcaneus here, and then this reinforces my thumb like this. Pull it out and go like that. You could do the intertwining fingers and grab it like this and like that. Whatever you want to do. For today's video, I'm going to do it like this because I like this one. So put my thumb right here in the talus. This just kind of grips the bottom. I'm just going to come over and grab the thumb. Now we're going to flex the foot, and very important, a lot of people just go from here and just thrust. No, you have to bring the slack out. You have to come here, hold it, and then you can fire. So if you just grab this and just pull, then you're just kind of pulling the whole chain. So we want to lock that joint out. Okay, we have a little bit of the MTP that's out, and then we want to fix that. There's two ways to do it. The way we taught in school, and then there's the way I like to do it that I feel like it's a little bit better. The way we taught in school was you come here, you bend over, you contact this here. We want to put our contact right here. The idea is that this starts to go out, and then it creates the bunion here. And as that goes out, this goes in, and we form that callus here. But the issue is not this joint where the bunion is, the issue is where it's connecting up here. So then you want to stabilize this bone here, and then we want to adjust here, and you can go straight through the table. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes you miss. The other one, what I like to do, because I can do it right from here and I don't have to change position, is I get that same contact with my finger here, and then this thumb here will push that up, and I'll just kind of come over like this, and I'm just kind of pulling on it, and then I can give it a tug, and then that can set that down as I'm pushing this in that direction. So yeah, feet are not too bad. And the good thing about the feet, do we have a drop? Yes. This, chiropractic students, this is your best friend. If I can only have one piece of equipment, I would have this in my office. So this is your best friend. I use this all the time. Even the best extremity adjuster in the world will sometimes have feet that are just stuck, and patients that are difficult, that don't know how to relax. And so sometimes we need an assistance, and this is our perfect assistance. As this just says to drop piece up and drops it down. So if I had to work on him with adjusting the foot, I could put that up there. I can come in here with the boom and drop down on the talus, And so you can do this with any of the adjustments. If you want to work on that calcaneus, a lot of times as we go in, we roll the foot over as we sprain the ankle. We want to bring it back the other way. So a lot of times I'll set the drop piece up, I'll grab this, I want to bring it this way. So as I bring it here, I can drop on that. And we can do this a few times just to get that, loosened up. And then we can really fix the foot with this. This for the feet, and this mini drop for the hands are incredible. You can make a huge difference, and it's just a small piece of equipment. I bring this to every sporting event, fits in my backpack, great piece of equipment. On this foot, what did we say? We had a cuboid. Cuboid, there's a few different ways you can do it. The way I do it's a little complicated, but it's very, very helpful. Very, very good adjustment. So here's the cuboid here. You contact it with your thumb. You rotate over. I bring it over here. This hand will reinforce my thumb like that. I want to flex the foot. Put it between my legs like this. My legs will squeeze my arms together to really make that tight. I'll traction out, and I'll do that. That can just really move the joint, mobilize it, recheck it, good movement. It looks good. So that's what he needed in this foot, and then he had a lot of tension here in these toes. So the toes are very simple. You can just kind of come in here and just push it until it kind of gets a little release. Just like that. It's very simple. Big toe, you can grab it from here, pull it out, and do that. So it just kind of releases this a little bit, and now his foot's just moving really good. That's going to help him, do whatever activities he needs to do today. The feet are very important. Probably the most important, by far the most important of the lower extremity, and I would say they're the most important of all extremities. So we talk about the hand. The hand is very interesting because there's a lot of times you're gonna find issues with the wrist and things you can fix. Almost never do you find any problems in these bones here. The thumb, yes, a little bit, but the wrist, there's a lot of tension that goes through the wrist. A lot of times there's a fall, or we have issues, or you're using the mouse too much, or typical scanning things, carpal tunnel. Those types of things we can really make a difference when we're working on it. He has a little bit of restriction here. Let me check this one. Yeah, right there. So hang on, come over here real quick. So if we look at the wrist, we have 8 carpal bones here, and then they're also articulating here with the ulna and the radius, and so we have this whole complex here of these bones. These bones form an arc like this. I mean, you can't really see it in the model, but they're like this. So almost always, not always, but most of the time, when they go out of alignment, they go like posterior. So most of the time, we'll find a joint, say this one's out, we'll put a contact, thumb over thumb, we're going to come down like this, and then just go like that. And now, as I'm doing that, I'm pulling and I'm opening the joint like this. So as we pull the joint like that, I can push that joint into its place and make the adjustment. So we're gonna go over each one of these bones here, and it doesn't matter. I know sometimes we forget the names of these. It's not important. It's just which one's stuck, let's fix it. That's stuck, we're gonna do that. This one's stuck, we're gonna do that. The thumb, you kind of come out to the side, we do that. And then we're gonna do a general adjustment when it comes with the wrist, and I'll show all that right now. We're gonna go over this one here. Just feel what's out of place, what's out of place. Okay, we got a little bit right here of the scaphoid. We got a little bit right here on that one, and there's a general joint. So what we do, we'll get our contact. There's my contact, thumb over thumb, reinforce. We want to kind of just rotate, come down. There it is right there. Okay, recheck, instant movement improvement, and that's what we want to see. A little bit of the scaphoid as well. Okay, you can kind of do the same thing. Come down and move that. Just get some movement. Again, what this is your best friend, because this here, imagine we struggle at first to move those. Happens all the time. I have patients that can't fully extend. You can't do it. Have some painful wrist. There's things and circumstances where you need your drop. Let's do the same thing. So if we have the drop, we put the drop here. If I had that same contact, I can just come in on top of it and then just drop on top of it. Okay, on any one of those, if it was a scaphoid again, boom, just drop on top of it. And then you really make the changes. Your best friend when it comes to feet and hands. Then you can do what's called the general adjustment of the wrist. This is where you grab here, you put pressure, and then what I'm doing is I'm coming down like this as I'm bringing out. So my hands are coming like this as my thanars are pushing in, like this, and then you just kind of come down with it. And that just kind of opens up that joint between the radius and the ulna and all those carpal bones. It's a non-specific movement, but a lot of times it just really releases the hand. So that hand is looking great. If we check this hand, same thing. What's going on? Do we have any restrictions? Yes, a little bit here, a little bit here. Maybe the general is the main issue because that's articulating here. Yeah, so first we're just going to start with the general one. So thanars are pushing in like this as these are pulling out. Okay, so it's a little weird adjustment, but it works really good. Okay, it moved well. Recheck it, good. A little bit of the scaphoid here. I can kind of thumb on thumb come down with it, and that moved really good. And maybe a little bit right here, just a little bit. Okay, excellent. Recheck, great movement. That's what we want to see. Before restrictions and flexion extension, now all the joints are just moving really good. And the patients notice this instantly as well. It's like, how's your hand? Move it around. What do you feel? It's like, wow, that just really released. Mm-hmm. And so it's just really good. There's so much neurological stimulus in the hand, and so we want to check those if we can. How long did it take me to work on both hands? 30 seconds. So extremities do not have to take a long time. Find it, the problem, fix it, you can move on to something else. Okay, and I do all of this in 10 minutes when I can see the entire body, full spine, soft tissue, extremities within 10 minutes, and talk and joke around with the patient. We have time. Mm-hmm. Okay. At first you need to practice, obviously, but when you get the flow of it, you can do it very quickly.
jacked up, bro.
So, talking about the shoulders, same thing. Let's check the joint. We checked this earlier as we rotated up as we adjusted him. And we found that the majority of the shoulder issue was from the neck as we fixed that, okay? But if we assume that it's out and we need to adjust it, we can kind of compare both sides, maybe the right one's maybe a little bit anterior, not a lot. There's two adjustments there's many adjustments for this, but there's two that I like that I do in my office. And then the rest is soft tissue. I would say that 90% of all shoulder stuff that I do is soft tissue work and very few adjustments. Okay, in the hand, it's like 99% adjustments and almost no soft tissue, very little. Elbow is a lot of soft tissue. The foot is almost all adjusting. The knee is a lot of soft tissue, and the hip is a mix of soft tissue and adjustments. But specifically with the shoulder, the typical adjustment that we are taught in school is you put your hand here on the neck, we bring it down, so the shoulder will subluxate or misalign anteriorly and down. So it's called an AI shoulder. So what we want to do is bring it superior and posterior, so there's the opposite of that. So usually you do this just to get a nice stable so I can grab something. I can come in here, come around with both hands, just intertwine my hands here, bring it up. If we just go from here, we're not doing anything. So we have to bring out all the tension, all the slack. When we have all the slack out, then I can just come in and do the adjustment, okay? Sometimes it moves well, sometimes it doesn't. The alternative move that I really like is if you can do, I come over here, I tell the patient like this, as they grab your hand, put your hand on your hip like this, great. And then what I'm going to do is stabilize here, and I'm going to ask the patient to bring his elbow backwards. So bring your elbow backwards, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, that's fine. So sometimes it just releases, it's great. With him, it didn't release, no problem, we don't have to force it. Option 3 is use the drop piece, okay? Lay on your back. Imagine we have here a drop piece. I can have him a little bit more to the center, and then I'll set the drop piece. I can come in here just like this, grab to support. I can get my thenar here, right over the joint, like that, and we just kind of come down together. As I push this down and I'm on top of the joint, we might have to do that 1 or 2 times, and we can really set that shoulder in its place.